Today I mess with pattern welded titanium. I've already done the center drilling, and now we get to the boring part. Yuck, yuck. So this is 3 different grades of titanium, all stacked together and welded. My tooling is on the older side, so this is not easy to cut. You can't really see it on the camera, but it's throwing all kinds of particulate. And the chatter in the tooling isn't helping much either. Later on you'll see it's going to leave me some gouges that I'm going to have to deal with manually. But speaking of flying particulate, eye protection. Use it. So now I'm checking inner diameter. Just a wee bit smaller than what I'm shooting for overall. I want a kind of domed finish on this ring. As I mentioned, I've got dull tools, and I find the rough shaping on a file is actually superior to using the tooling when you're talking a rounded shape anyway. So there's all kinds of bad that can happen with this combination of techniques. I do not recommend it for someone who is inexperienced or does not have a healthy respect for what a lathe can do. And with the rough shaping out of the way, we're going to try to clean up that outer surface a little bit, do some progressively finer grits of sanding. And moving on to the interior, I mentioned we left it a little smaller than our target size initially, just for getting things cleaned up, get our shape, get that final polish in there. But I also noticed my duller tooling was really leaving some nice chatter marks on the inside that are going to need some removing before final polishing. Much like the file on the outer diameter, I'm using a file on the inner diameter, which is even more dangerous. So don't do it if you don't understand exactly what you're doing. And that proved ultimately to be futile anyway, so we took it off the lathe. And I'm now hand filing across the gouging. Just much more efficient at actually removing the material. This is going to put me dangerously close to going over my size, but you got to do what you got to do. So we're going to skip a good amount of the fine surfacing now that we're getting down to where we need. Now we're going to start getting cleaned up for final processes before anodization. Throw it here in the ultrasonic bath, and through internet magic, bang, it's done. And we'll move on to heating this sucker up. Now we fake some anodization with this here torch. So anodization is an electrochemical process, but titanium will allow you to fake it by heating the heck out of the metal to form an oxide layer that refracts the light around it and makes you perceive colors. So now I want to do a final little touch here and add some exposed metal to the outer surface. So giving it a quick little heating pass. And we're going to trim a little bit of material off either side of the outer profile. And we'll turn it around to do the second channel. Ooh, hot tuber. Now I'll run a microfiber cloth over it, make sure we don't have any exposed burrs. Yep, still a little warm. And I'll clean up those channels a little bit with a needle file. Yep, still hot. Makeshift glove time. Now this is an exercise in futility. I'm still not happy with the final appearance of the anodizing job here. So I'm ultimately not as pleased with the finish on this as I thought I would be. I was expecting more vibrant and more differentiated color in this piece. So it looks like it's time to scrape the oxide layer and attack again with a DC power supply. Here is what the variation I was expecting would be more reminiscent of. So yeah, lessons learned, and we'll be back.